Hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing my favorite tarot deck, the Alchemical Tarot 6th edition. Um, it's called the Blue Sky edition because all of the the backing on all of these, well, except for the High Priestess and Death and the Truth, they're not blue, obviously, but this is going to be a silent flip through comparison with the Rider Waite Tarot, um, kind of the standard edition here, just so you guys can see any differences. Unfortunately, my standard Rider Waite Tarot is missing I believe, the King of Cups and the King of Wands, so bear with me, but here's going to be a side by side to compare and see how they have different kind of flavors or connotations. You'll see as we go along here. Here's the second Lovers card. In this edition, Justice and Strength are swapped as they were originally. So I'll go ahead and show you the Strength cards compared side by side. And then in this deck, there's a 22nd Major Arcana. Here we have Hermes Trismegistus. He's holding a card as within, so without, right? And this symbolizes the Tetractes, which is a symbol of the emanations of spirit, and it's thought to be a symbol of all of the cosmos. If you want, I can go further in depth with that. Um, Basically, you have the four elements, um, and then you have the body, mind, spirit, or sulfur, mercury, and salt. And then you have light and dark, masculine and feminine. And then you have the 1 point, the Ogdode, whatever you want to call it, the all. Um, and it goes even deeper than that. If you are interested in this, I'd recommend you look up the Tetractes. You have four basic elements or four pillars, fire being the top. And there's also four grades of fire as well, which is interesting. Um, but in between, you have these liminal spaces, so you have seven total, which is fairly interesting. All right, on to the minor arcana. Lots of extremely interesting stuff with this deck. As you can see, the Rider-Waite Tarot has the Ten of Pentacles as in the symbol of the Tree of Life, which is interesting because I believe the Rider-Waite Smith deck was inspired by Golden Dawn teachings, which incorporate the alchemical or Kemetic teachings with the Kabbalah. Don't ask me much about the Kabbalah. I don't really know a whole lot. I know they're emanations of spirit or modes of consciousness. Aside from that, yeah, as you see, this one seems to be, almost blinded by the material, the modal things. But one fascinating thing about this deck is all of these coins have symbolism on them. Here, for example, we have Mercury and the foot of Hermes, so that's what that represents. Here we have I believe that's the Eye of Ra, or the Eye of Horus. I know they're different, so there's some deep symbolism there. And then you have the owl with that, so that's a symbol of Athena right there. This could be Caesar, I don't know. But as you see, all of this is extremely eloquently well thought out, as far as the symbolism and diving deep into yourself, and that's what I believe the tarot is about. Enough of my rambling. Sorry, I figured I'd show there are differences in these decks, so you might get different readings because of the different messages being implied by the Rider-Waite Smith versus the Alchemical Tarot. Not that one is better than the other. For readings for other people, I'm much more familiar with the symbolism and the story of the map of being in the Rider-Waite Smith deck, but the Alchemical Tarot can have just as much insight, which is extremely fascinating. So, enough of my rambling. Sorry. So much for a silent video, huh? Sorry for the interruption once again, but I figured this is noteworthy. In the Four of Cups in the traditional tarot, it's usually seen as looking at the modal or the material things instead of the cup that's being offered by the divine, or you can look at it the other way, as someone looking at the cup being offered by the divine whilst neglecting the ones presented in front of them. Here we see elephant that is balancing on these jars, which is a symbol of kind of strength and poise and eloquence, in a sense. That balance of strength yet grace, I guess, or at least that's how I interpret it. And that's the beauty of tarot is it doesn't necessarily matter what anyone else thinks, but what do the cards say to you? Quite interesting, the differences in these cards and their depictions. This one I view as friendship, that inner child, being able to share the blessings that you have with another, whereas this one seems to be more of a symbol of filling up your vases equally and making sure to tend to the things that you care about, and also kind of equal balance. So it seems to me that there's a difference in what these cards are saying, but nonetheless, it is just awesome. And of course, you can't have a Rider-Waite copy necessarily with all of these alchemical allegories, at least easily, in my opinion. The utmost respect to Robert M. Place, for all of the time and dedication that's gone into the thought and the allegory behind such a deck. One other difference worth mentioning: the instead of saying cups, swords, wands, and pentacles, these cards are depicted with the alchemical elements. So we have obviously water being the downward triangle, earth being a downward triangle with a line through it, air being an upward facing triangle with a line through it, and fire being just an upward facing triangle. So if that helps you at all, I'm glad. Sorry, like I said, I don't have my King of Cups in the original Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, so yeah, here's the one in the Alchemical Tarot. Different symbolism. It looks to be a whale, which is a symbol of dissolution, filling up his own cup, it looks like. Whereas the King of Cups is kind of seen as maybe more of a reserved or having his emotions under control. This card, to me at least, depicts somebody being self-satisfied in their emotions, almost the same energy as the Queen of Pentacles in a sense. But onward we go. Oh, one of my favorite cards in this entire deck. Um, I haven't even mentioned the back. I'll save that for last. Save the best for last, right? But one thing I enjoy here, as you can see, these people are carrying wands. They are cheering this person on for having a victory. He's got the laurel wreath on his head. And here we see similar symbolism, but veiled in alchemical allegory. Um, Looks like an initiate here, but he is maybe passing the flame on to others, or the ancestors, the people who came before him, are passing the flame on to him as well. The sacred flame. If you want, I can get deeper into that. And then we have below him, it looks like he's walking on a cloud, man. Like, that's pretty magical, I'd say. But we have the symbol of the perfected sun and the perfected moon there, which is really interesting. So I know you can't see it there, but I would assume he's got a philosopher's stone in his pocket. Huh. It's a dog eat dog kind of world, I guess. At least that's what they say. All right, I'll shut up. Time for the silent flip through here. Sorry, I'm wasting your time. As I said, no King of Wands to compare the Rider-Waite to the Alchemical Tarot with, but here is the King of Staves, King of Wands. The dragon having his flame, and it looks like he's got 5 horns on his head there, which is probably signifying the 4 elements plus the quintessence. Hmm. quite different symbolism here as well. I figure it's possibly worth noting. Looks like here he's got two swords, maybe from his defeated foes. He looks victorious. Kind of the energy of Five of Wands, except not quite so friendly competition, more of battle of wits, it seems. Whereas in this card, in the Alchemical Tarot, you have a blacksmith forging a sword while it's hot. So possibly the symbolism of taking advantage of your opportunities. And as you see here, we have two swords that look to be well made, well crafted, and two that are unrefined. So the refined versus the unrefined. Also, this seems to have more of a energy of honing your craft, or putting work into a project or endeavor or an idea, because it's swords, while the opportunity is still there. Obviously, different symbolism here as well. The Queen of Swords is typically very intellectual, very kind, but also willing to cut off whoever she needs to. And here you see this sort of cherubim-esque entity, or Valkyrie, or whatever you want to call it, with the green and the red, which is interesting. Green representing vitriol, or acidity. In alchemical terms, it's more of the unrefined aspects of the stone, whereas red would be rubedo, however you want to say it, the perfected elements of consciousness. So it seems to be a distinction here between the unrefined and the refined, similar to what we've seen before. And finally, the King of Swords. I hope this video has helped you decide if you want to buy the Alchemical Tarot or not. And last but not least, I mentioned I would talk about the back. Really interesting symbolism here. This is what's called the Anima Mundi, I believe, or the Animus Mundi, depending on your gender. But basically, it is the spirit of all. And I don't know if you can see here. She has the sun and the moon, which is interesting. That's the same symbolism as Horus. And she has the four elements here. She has wind. She's breathing out the air. Water here. Fire for her hair. And then earth, obviously, her body. The all, or whatever you want to call it. It looks like the wings of Hermes here on its feet, and Alchemia, which stands for black dirt, or the fertile dirt. I forget the exact etymological origins of that, but then you see here the eagle, which is interesting, representing the air, the volatile, and then the salamander representing the fixed. Also, that's a symbol of being fireproof, and the eagle is also a symbol of rulership, or Jupiter, so on and so forth. You have the equilateral philosopher's stone here, which basically is a Pythagorean, or I think it's a Platonic way to explain, or a Platonic symbol of perfecting the soul. And then you have Taro, which makes this a